Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Markiplier theory, and this one is a bit of a continuation to my last theory where pretty much I left one question unanswered about the Markiplier lore timeline, which was if the Random Encounters FNAF videos are canon to the Markiplier lore. Now I get that this is a pretty random question, so if you haven't seen my last Markiplier theory, let me explain to you why I'm even here questioning this in the first place. So pretty much a while back, Markiplier made a video where Wilfred Warfstache interviews Phone Guy from FNAF, and it ends with Wilfred Warfstache getting jump scared by Golden Freddy. And originally I thought that this video single-handedly connected the Markiplier timeline with the Five Nights at Freddy's timeline. But then after I took a second to ponder my existence in reality, I realized that maybe this video doesn't mean that the FNAF lore and the Markiplier lore are connected, but instead it could mean that the Random Encounters FNAF series is connected to the Markiplier lore. Since Markiplier does feature a prominent role in the Random Encounters FNAF musicals, what if that's just another Markiplier ego just lurking around in the wild? But first, before we can solve this, we need to figure out the difference between the actual FNAF lore and the Random Encounters FNAF musicals lore. So, if you have not yet watched the Random Encounters FNAF musicals, then I highly recommend clicking off this video and going to watch them now. I mean, technically you don't have to click off this video because I'm literally about to summarize everything that you need to know, but I just mainly recommend watching them first, mainly because they're just really good videos with a pretty good storyline as well. And if you are a fan of FNAF and haven't seen these musicals, trust me, you're gonna love them. As others put it, watching this series will bring you back to the old days of FNAF when there was only 4 games, yet the lore was still as complicated. But pretty much in these musicals, each night was one song. The first night is Markiplier on his first night at the job, so obviously he realizes for the first time that the animatronics move and try to get to him, except this time, in this night one, we're getting to see the perspectives of the animatronics as well, and see what they're talking about to each other. And unlike the FNAF lore, this is the first main big difference. Each of the animatronics are actually friendly. They all want to help out Markiplier and be nice to him, but Markiplier, all he sees is moving creepy animatronics, so he still goes berserk and thinks they're out to kill him, when really none of them are out to kill them, they just want to say hi. But at the end of the day, it's all good because he ends up surviving his first night shift. Unfortunately, at the end of his first night shift, he gets the news broken to him that he still has 4 more nights to go. So of course, whenever night 2 rolls around, he does the only logical thing a person could do, and he brings an AK-47. Okay, now that I think about it, why haven't anybody else in the FNAF lore just bring a gun with them as a security guard? Even Michael Afton, who knows very well that all the animatronics are possessed, he still doesn't bring a gun with him in his later nights. Anyways, Markiplier's intentions here were to kill the animatronics that he thought were gonna try to kill him, but instead he actually ends up not killing any of the animatronics, and he accidentally kills a janitor.
You're not Foxy.
This causes him to run away from the police and dye his hair, so that way he can be undetected. Anyways, while Markiplier is laying low, Fazbear Entertainment still needs a security guard for the remaining nights, so they end up calling up Nate to fill in that role. So apparently Nate has worked at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza before, and apparently he witnessed the bite of 87, or the bite of 83, either one. The film just calls it The Bite, no year attached to it. Although this is another thing that these musicals do different from the actual FNAF lore. In the Random Encounters lore, apparently Freddy Fazbear was the one who did the bite. And according to Freddy, it was just an accident. Anyways, while Nate is filling over for Markiplier, Freddy and the gang end up coming across a mysterious package, which apparently holds Springtrap inside. And yet another thing that this film does differently than the FNAF lore is instead of Springtrap being William Afton stuck in the Spring Bonnie suit, Springtrap is instead a creation made by the purple guy who is different from William Afton in this film. More on that later. But anyways, Springtrap was created by the purple guy simply because the purple guy wanted more office hours so he could make more money. But anyways, Nate needed the help of Markiplier and Bonnie and Chica and Foxy and Freddy to finally defeat Springtrap. But anyways, the team ends up capturing Springtrap. The purple guy says sorry, and he ends up being able to still get more office hours. And everything's all good and fine. The end. Right? Wrong. Because remember how earlier I said Purple Guy and William Afton aren't the same person? It turns out that William Afton is actually just MatPat in a Fredbear onesie. Oh, and he has a flamethrower. So they end up defeating MatPat and then they leave and pretty much start living their own lives normally from there. The end. So obviously, quite a bit of the lore is different from the Random Encounters musicals to the normal FNAF lore. So now let's see, based off of the dialogue between Wilfred Warfstache and Phone Guy, is it the Random Encounters videos or is it the actual FNAF lore that's canon to the Markiplier lore? So now let's see what Phone Guy says to Wilfred and see if it checks out.
Well, one would be in charge of viewing security cameras, and at one point would be in charge of using telekinetic powers to wind up a music box so the scary pop-up man doesn't go boo.
So far so good. There is one scene in the Random Encounters musical where MatPat gets jumped by the puppet. But listen to what Phone Guy has to say next, because this one's a bit of a tricky one.
Occasionally you have to put on a mask so the mechanical children's animatronics don't forcibly stuff you into an exoskeleton or jump out and go boo.
Now there is one scene in the first Random Encounters musical where Markiplier does try to put on some sort of mask to hopefully avoid the animatronics from getting to him, but he just did that from impulse. It was not provided to him by Fazbear Entertainment or anything like that. So originally, you might think that this might be a bit of a deal breaker, and it might deconfirm my theory about the Random Encounters videos being canon to the Markiplier lore. But there's a possibility that this doesn't deconfirm anything, based off of who the Phone Guy might be. Because in the Random Encounters musicals, Phone Guy is actually MatPat, aka William Afton. So if that's the case in here, we did see whenever MatPat was shown on screen that he did wear a full-on Freddy Fazbear suit, including a Freddy mask. So if MatPat was to be the one who's speaking on the phone right now, then there's actually a chance that this theory can still hold up. But besides that one little hiccup right there wasn't really anything else that could deconfirm these two timelines being connected. Everything else that the Phone Guy said was stereotypical FNAF stuff that was technically true for both the FNAF lore and the Random Encounters lore. Now there is the part that I already showed before in this video where Phone Guy talked about how the animatronics will try to stuff you in a Fazbear suit. I get that that really does lean a lot more heavily towards the normal FNAF lore and nothing really Random Encounters related. But then again, there's also the possibility that whoever this Phone Guy is just been fooled, just like how MatPat was fooled, that the animatronics are out to get him when really they're super nice. So with all that said, what is our final conclusion? Is the FNAF lore or is the Random Encounters lore canon to the Markiplier lore? So first of all, I fully believe that Markiplier had absolutely no intentions of connecting the Random Encounters lore with his lore whenever making this one Wilfred Warfstache video. Even though most of the comments that Phone Guy makes don't really deconfirm the Random Encounters lore, it also leans heavily towards the normal FNAF lore. Now, does this mean that the Random Encounters and the Markiplier lore are connected? Well, it doesn't mean that they aren't. The Markiplier lore would be not affected and would still work fully without retconning itself at all if the FNAF Random Encounters musicals were canon to it, although I don't really picture Markiplier ever even considering that the two are connected. But technically they are connected because In Space with Markiplier brought up the idea of infinite universes, meaning infinite possibilities, meaning that there is one universe out there that is like the Random Encounters musicals. But in all seriousness, that's going to be it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe for more Markiplier theories, and I will see y'all in the next video. Goodbye.